You've been lied to. They told you to follow your passion, that if you just felt it in your heart, success would magically appear. But here's the brutal truth. Passion doesn't pay the bills. Passion doesn't close deals, and passion doesn't close deals, and passion doesn't make you unstoppable. Passion is a feeling. It comes and goes. Skill is power. Skill is leverage. Skill is the currency the world actually respects. Here's the problem with chasing passion. You're waiting for motivation to hit you like lightning. You're waiting for inspiration to strike. Meanwhile, the world isn't waiting. Opportunity doesn't knock on your feelings. The market doesn't care if you're excited. The market only cares if you can execute, if you can deliver, if you can perform at a level that others can't. And that doesn't come from passion. That comes from work, deliberate, uncomfortable, focused, relentless work on building skill. Every person you admire didn't start with some magical passion that guided them to success. They started with skills. They got uncomfortable. They practiced when no one was watching. They mastered what they could control. And then the world noticed. The world doesn't reward dreams, it rewards execution. It rewards competence. It rewards proof. So if you want results, stop chasing a feeling. Stop hoping motivation will show up tomorrow. Stop pretending passion is enough. Build skill. Become the person who can do what others can't. Because when you do that, passion doesn't matter. The results speak for themselves. People love to romanticize passion. They paint it as this magical fuel that will guide you effortlessly to success. Follow your passion, they say, and everything else will fall into place. They act like passion is some kind of universal compass, an internal GPS that guarantees you'll wake up every morning full of energy and that the world will reward you just because you love it. But here's the harsh truth nobody tells you. Passion doesn't pay the bills. Passion doesn't create leverage. Passion doesn't make you valuable to the world. Passion is fleeting. Passion is unreliable. It's a feeling, and feelings are fickle by nature. One day you might feel like you're on fire, unstoppable, ready to conquer everything. The next day, that same fire is gone. You feel uninspired, stuck, uncertain, and all of a sudden, your passion is failing you. The people who succeed, the people who actually build wealth, influence, and impact, don't rely on a feeling to carry them. They rely on skill. Skill is a tool. Skill is something you can develop, measure, refine, and deploy. Skill creates leverage. Skill allows you to provide value in ways that the market cannot ignore. When you build skill, you can survive a lack of motivation, a loss of passion, a bad day, or even a period of complete doubt. Skill gives you a baseline that passion cannot. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. It doesn't give you a dopamine hit every morning. But skill produces results consistently. You can trade skill for money, influence, opportunities, and freedom. Passion might make you feel good, but skill gets you paid. Look at the people who make a real impact in their fields. They didn't wake up one day filled with passion and suddenly become masters of their craft. They started somewhere uncomfortable. They started small. They practiced while nobody was watching. They studied, failed, iterated, and repeated over and over until they became the best at what they did. You don't need passion to practice skill. In fact, you rarely feel passion while grinding. You rarely feel passion while doing the hard, repetitive, unglamorous work required to get good at something. That's why passion is overrated. Relying on it is dangerous. It lulls you into thinking that success will come if only you feel the right way, if only the right emotions strike at the right time. But feelings are weak. They're unreliable. They can't carry you through the hard parts. Skill, on the other hand, is like a muscle you can develop. The more you invest in it, the stronger it gets. The stronger your skill, the more doors open for you. The market rewards skill. A client doesn't care if you're passionate about design, marketing, coding, or selling. They care if you can deliver results, if you can solve a problem, if you can outperform the alternatives. That's why skill pays the bills and passion doesn't. Passion might get you started, but it rarely keeps you going when the real work begins. When the deadlines loom, when the competition is fierce, when you're exhausted and burned out, that's when skill carries you through. You can push through fatigue, setbacks, and uncertainty if you have skill, because skill gives you a proven process, a repeatable method, a framework that produces outcomes. Passion alone cannot do that. Another reason passion is overrated is that it's highly subjective. What feels like passion to you might not be valued by the market. You might love writing poetry, but if nobody is willing to pay for it, your passion is irrelevant to your financial survival or professional leverage. You might feel deeply passionate about starting a YouTube channel, But if you don't know how to edit, how to grow an audience, or how to monetize your work, passion alone won't make it sustainable. Skill bridges that gap. Skill transforms passion, or even no passion at all, into results that the world rewards. The irony is that as you build skill, you often find that passion follows naturally. Once you become confident, and capable, the enjoyment of mastery replaces the shaky, unreliable feeling of passion. You begin to appreciate the work itself because you can execute it well. You see the results of your efforts, and that produces satisfaction, confidence, and momentum. Passion might be the spark, but skill is the engine. Without the engine, the spark dies quickly. With the engine, the spark ignites a fire that keeps burning no matter how you feel. The world doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about what you can do. It rewards what you can deliver. Skill gives you the ability to meet that standard. Skill allows you to compete, to survive, to thrive. Passion is optional. Skill is essential. If you want to get serious about building wealth, influence, or impact, you have to stop waiting for passion to guide you. You have to start showing up and putting in the work to develop skill. You have to accept that mastery is uncomfortable, repetitive, and sometimes boring. You have to embrace the process of deliberate practice and constant improvement. That is how people win. That is how people get results. That is why skill, not passion, is what ultimately pays the bills. The idea that you should always chase what feels right is one of the most dangerous misconceptions in personal development and career growth. People are constantly told to follow their instincts, to listen to their heart, to do what excites them, as if emotions were a reliable compass for creating tangible results. But the truth is, feelings are volatile, unpredictable, and often misleading. They change based on circumstances, energy levels, mood, and countless external factors that you have no control over. What feels right today may feel completely wrong tomorrow, and the market doesn't adjust for your feelings. Results don't care if you're excited or if you're scared. They only care about output, execution, and consistency. Chasing what feels right is an approach built on hope, not on strategy. It's reactive, not proactive. You wait for inspiration to strike instead of creating it yourself. You wait for motivation to appear instead of cultivating discipline. You wait for the perfect emotional alignment instead of doing the work required to develop real skill. And while waiting, time passes. Opportunities vanish, and competitors who focus on execution pull ahead. The truth is, feelings are often deceptive. You might feel confident, energized, or passionate about a particular project or idea, but those feelings are not indicators of your ability to create results. Conversely, you might feel doubt, fear, or discomfort about the path that could actually lead to enormous growth. If you rely on feelings to make decisions, you will consistently overvalue what excites you and undervalue what challenges you. Growth happens on the edge of discomfort, in areas where your emotions are screaming at you to stop. If you always chase what feels good, you will never enter that zone where skill is built, where mastery is earned, where results are created. The reality is that success is rarely aligned with immediate gratification. It often requires pushing through resistance, boredom, and uncertainty. The work that actually produces leverage, the kind of skill that compounds over time, rarely feels fun or right in the moment. It feels hard, it feels awkward, it feels like something you don't want to do. And yet this is exactly where the results live. People who chase feelings are effectively gambling with their lives. They're hoping that the emotional high will lead them somewhere meaningful. But hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a plan. Hope does not scale. It does not produce compounding results. Skill scales. Execution scales, system scale, discipline scales. Chasing what feels right is a passive approach to life. It keeps you small. It keeps you dependent on momentary inspiration. It keeps you from building the repeatable processes that create reliable outcomes. You may start 10 projects with enthusiasm and abandon 9 of them because the emotional high faded. You may jump from job to job, opportunity to opportunity, thinking you're following your true calling, when in reality, you are simply following your mood. Meanwhile, people who focus on execution and skill development are building momentum. They are accumulating experience, competence, and credibility. They are proving themselves capable over and over, even when they don't feel like it. That proof creates more opportunity, more confidence, and more results than any fleeting feeling ever could. There's also a fundamental misunderstanding in chasing feelings. People think that if something feels right, it's easy. They assume that the path aligned with emotion should be effortless. When it isn't, they quit. They abandon it at the first sign of struggle, believing that struggle means it's the wrong path. In reality, struggle is the path. The resistance you encounter, the uncertainty, the discomfort, all of it is evidence that you are growing. The tasks and challenges that feel wrong are often exactly what you need to do to produce the results you're chasing. Chasing feelings also ignores the reality that success is largely external, not internal. You might feel inspired, talented, or ready internally, but if the market, your clients, or the people you serve don't respond, your feelings are irrelevant. What matters is the value you provide, the execution you demonstrate, and the skill you build. You can't negotiate with reality using emotion. You can't force results through excitement alone. The world doesn't care about your inner alignment. It cares about performance, results, and impact. To create meaningful outcomes, you must prioritize reality over emotion. You must prioritize what works over what feels good. You must prioritize skill, discipline, and execution over transient inspiration. This doesn't mean feelings are useless. They can indicate areas of interest or curiosity, but they are not a roadmap. They are not a blueprint for building results. Treat feelings as information, not directives. Measure them, analyze them, and decide based on evidence, not impulse. Learn to take action even when it doesn't feel right. Learn to embrace tasks, projects, and challenges that feel uncomfortable, tedious, or frustrating. Those are the actions that separate those who dream from those who achieve. Those who chase feelings remain stuck in hope and fantasy. Those who master execution and skill move the needle in the real world. In the end, chasing what feels right rarely produces results, because feelings are fleeting, unreliable, and self-centered. Results are built through consistent action, disciplined practice, and deliberate skill development. Skill is the foundation of any meaningful success. Without it, even the most ambitious dreams are made just that, dreams. People often think that ideas, inspiration, or connections are the keys to success, but those things are fleeting and unreliable. Skill, on the other hand, is tangible. It is something you can develop, refine, and deploy repeatedly to produce predictable outcomes. Skill is what separates people who talk about what they want to do from those who actually do it. It is what allows you to take opportunities and turn them into results. When you have skill, you are not dependent on luck, timing, or the approval of others. You become the person who can deliver, the person who can solve problems, the person who can create value where others see nothing. Skill is measurable. You can see it improve over time, you can test it in real-world situations, and you can gauge its effectiveness by the results it produces. Passion and ideas can be inspiring, but they cannot be quantified, and they cannot guarantee outcomes. Skill gives you that guarantee, not in an abstract sense, but in concrete, undeniable results. People who chase passion without skill often find themselves frustrated, spinning in circles, wondering why their enthusiasm does not translate into progress. The reason is simple. The world does not reward feelings, it rewards competence. Skill compounds over time. Every hour you invest in learning, practicing, and refining your craft adds to a growing reservoir of capability. Over months and years, this accumulation creates leverage that no fleeting passion can replicate. A person with high skill can tackle new challenges faster, solve problems more efficiently, and adapt to changing circumstances in ways that someone relying on motivation or inspiration cannot. Skill is transferable. Once you build it in one domain, you can apply it in others. Learning how to sell effectively, for example, opens doors in virtually every industry. Learning how to code allows you to automate, create, or innovate in countless ways. Learning how to communicate persuasively makes you a better leader, negotiator, and influencer. These are lasting tools that give you flexibility, dependence, and freedom, whereas passion tied to a single interest can fade or become irrelevant. Developing skill requires discipline, focus, and intentional practice. It requires embracing discomfort and doing the work that others avoid. Mastery is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It is repetitive, tedious, and often thankless. But it is precisely this hard work that produces results. People who avoid discomfort because it doesn't feel right or because it's not immediately enjoyable rarely develop the skills needed to achieve meaningful success. Skill builds confidence. Not the empty kind of confidence based on hope or self-perception, but a grounded, unshakable confidence that comes from proof. When you know you can perform, you know you can solve problems, you know you can deliver results, that confidence manifests in your decisions, your actions, and the way others perceive you. It gives you authority in your field and credibility in your work. Skill opens doors that passion alone cannot. A client, employer, or partner doesn't care that you are excited about an idea. They care whether you can execute it. They care whether you can produce tangible outcomes. A highly skilled individual commands attention, respect, and opportunity simply by demonstrating capability. The more skill you have, the more leverage you gain. The more leverage you gain, the more freedom you have to choose projects, negotiate terms, and make an impact. Without skill, even the best ideas remain unexecuted, even the strongest passions remain unfulfilled, and even the loudest voices struggle to make a real difference. Skill is also a hedge against uncertainty. Life will throw challenges, market shifts, competition, and setbacks in your path. Passion can wane, motivation can falter, and opportunities can vanish. But skill gives you resilience. It allows you to adapt, pivot, and create value no matter the circumstances. Skill is durable, it withstands time, trends, and external pressures. People who rely solely on feelings or luck are always vulnerable to change. Those who rely on skill maintain relevance, influence, and the ability to generate results regardless of external conditions. The pursuit of skill is not a short-term strategy. It is a long-term investment. Each effort compounds into greater capability. Each challenge overcomes sharpens your edge, and each success builds confidence and credibility. Over time, skill becomes a self-reinforcing cycle that continually opens doors, creates opportunities, and produces outcomes. Those who understand this principle realize that chasing passion or waiting for inspiration is a luxury, not a necessity. They understand that skill is the true currency of success, the lever that transforms effort into results, and the mechanism through which ideas, effort, and ambition are converted into tangible achievement. Skill is not optional, it is essential. It is the difference between talking about what could be and actually creating what is. The world rewards the person who can execute, not the person who only feels inspired to act. Mastery, competence, and the ability to deliver results are what produce financial independence, influence, and impact, and all of these stem from the relentless pursuit of skill. Mastery does not come from wishful thinking or fleeting bursts of motivation. It comes from deliberate, focused, and often uncomfortable practice. Many people misunderstand what it means to become great at something. They assume talent, passion, or luck is the driving force behind success. They believe that natural ability or a sudden surge of inspiration will carry them to the top. The reality is far more practical, far more relentless. Mastery requires deliberate practice sustained over time in a way that stretches your current capabilities. Deliberate practice is not about simply putting in hours or repeating the same tasks mindlessly. It is about targeting your weaknesses, confronting your limitations, and systematically improving the areas that matter most. It is about stepping into discomfort intentionally, understanding that growth does not happen in the zone of comfort. People often quit before they see real progress because they confuse effort with effectiveness. They spend time on activities that feel productive but do not actually move them closer to competence or mastery. Deliberate practice is different because it is designed to produce measurable improvement. It is structured, focused, and purposeful. It requires feedback, iteration, and refinement. It forces you to confront the parts of your craft that are hardest, the parts you tend to avoid, because that is where the largest gains are waiting. Mastery is a process of building neural pathways, developing habits, and internalizing skills so deeply that they become second nature. This level of expertise does not emerge from casual interest or sporadic effort. It emerges from a mindset that values consistency over excitement, discipline over inspiration, and precision over speed. Most people are drawn to what feels good or rewarding in the moment, but the reality is that growth is often painful. The exercises that improve your skill most often feel awkward, uncomfortable, or even frustrating. You may struggle, fail repeatedly, and feel incompetent for long stretches, but these moments are not indicators that you are on the wrong path. They are evidence that you are growing, stretching, and building the foundation for true mastery. People who skip this process, who chase only the enjoyable aspects of their work, or who rely on natural talent alone, rarely achieve the level of proficiency that opens doors, commands respect, or produces meaningful results. Mastery is about building a body of proof, a track record of capability that cannot be disputed. It is not about how inspired you feel or how much passion you can summon on a given day. It is about what you can do consistently, reliably, and at a high level of performance. Deliberate practice also requires humility. You must be willing to acknowledge your weaknesses, accept criticism, and confront your limitations. You must be willing to do the work that others avoid because it is difficult or uncomfortable. You must be willing to embrace repetition and incremental improvement, even when the results are not immediately visible. The process is slow, often painstaking, but it is the only reliable path to real skill. Without it, you remain in the realm of potential rather than execution, dreaming about success instead of producing it. Mastery is cumulative. Each session of focused practice builds on the last. Each challenge overcome adds to your ability to perform at a higher level. Each failure teaches lessons that cannot be gained through theory or observation alone. This accumulation of capability is what separates the amateurs from the professionals, the hobbyists from the high performers, and the dreamers from the achievers. The market, the world, and even personal relationships all respond to mastery, not to enthusiasm. Being good at what you do creates opportunities, credibility, and influence. It allows you to navigate uncertainty, adapt to change, and produce results that are recognized and valued by others. Passion might get someone interested in a field, but deliberate practice builds a competence that commands attention. Mastery is not about perfection, it is about consistency and improvement. It is about building habits and processes that allow you to deliver results repeatedly. It is about being willing to put in work that is often unseen, unglamorous, and unsclabbered. It is about understanding that true skill is earned through sweat, repetition, and focus, not by waiting for inspiration or chasing excitement. People who embrace this process understand that discomfort is a sign of growth, struggle is a sign of learning, and effort is the currency of mastery. They stop looking for shortcuts, hacks, or quick fixes, because they know that only sustained, deliberate, and focused work produces lasting results. Mastery transforms the way you operate in the world. It builds confidence rooted in capability rather than hope. It opens doors that passion alone cannot. It creates leverage, influence, and opportunity. It allows you to deliver results under pressure, adapt to challenges, and thrive where others falter. Mastery is not a destination. It is a process, a continuous commitment to deliberate, focused improvement that compounds over time. And it is only accessible to those willing to endure the hard work, discomfort, and repetition required to truly become exceptional. The market does not care about your feelings, your excuses, or your personal circumstances. It does not adjust for your mood, your level of excitement, or your self-perceived potential. It only cares about results, performance, and the value you can deliver. This is a reality that most people struggle to accept because it goes against the way we are conditioned to think about success. We like to imagine that if we care enough, if we try hard enough, or if we feel passionate enough, the world will reward us accordingly. But the truth is brutal. The world does not reward effort based on how it feels. It rewards effectiveness, competence, and the ability to produce outcomes that others cannot. The market is neutral. It doesn't know who you are, and it doesn't care. It responds to capability, execution, and proof. If you show up and can deliver, doors open. If you show up and cannot, it closes them. This principle applies across every field and every level of skill. Passion can get you started, motivation can push you through a few early hurdles, but neither is a substitute for competence. The market is impartial, indifferent, and unforgiving. It does not make exceptions for people who tried hard or who believe in themselves. It only recognizes results. This is why skill and execution are paramount. Without the ability to produce, to execute, and to solve real problems, you are invisible to the systems and structures that create opportunity. You might feel that you deserve success, that your ideas are brilliant, or that your efforts are sufficient, but the market does not care about your sense of entitlement. It cares about output. It cares about solving pain points. It cares about delivering something that others value. This reality is liberating once you internalize it because it removes the need for external validation and the trap of trying to feel right about every decision. You stop asking, am I passionate enough? Or does this feel exciting? Instead, you focus on the tangible. Can I deliver? Can I create value? Can I solve the problem at hand? The answer to these questions determines your results, not your emotions. Understanding that the market does not care about feelings also eliminates excuses. Most people fail because they believe their circumstances, emotions, or lack of inspiration are barriers. They think the world should accommodate their personal rhythm or their inner motivation, but the market moves on. Customers, clients, investors, and employers do not wait for your readiness. They do not pause for your self-reflection. They respond to capability. This realization shifts your focus from internal validation to external impact. It forces you to prioritize skill, execution, and consistency over comfort and excitement. It also highlights the importance of accountability. When you understand that the market is indifferent, you realize that your success is entirely dependent on what you can deliver. You cannot blame motivation, luck, or timing for your lack of results. You can only look at your actions, your skills, and your ability to execute and improve. This is both empowering and sobering. It means that you are fully responsible for your outcomes, but it also means that success is within reach if you are willing to put in the work to become competent and capable. Competence compounds. The more skill you acquire, the more leverage you gain, and the more opportunities present themselves. But this only happens if you accept that the market does not care about your feelings. If you wait for inspiration, validation, or alignment with your emotions, you will constantly be behind those who prioritize execution over comfort. The market rewards those who can deliver results under pressure, adapt to changing circumstances, and solve problems that others cannot. Feeling passionate about a task does not guarantee that you will solve it. Feeling inspired does not guarantee that you will solve it. Feeling inspired does not guarantee that others will recognize your value. Only skill, execution, and proof matter. This principle also changes the way you approach risk and failure. When the market does not care about your feelings, you stop fearing setbacks as personal indictments. You stop internalizing failure as a reflection of your worth. Instead, you see it as data, as feedback, as a guide for how to improve your skill, sharpen your execution, and produce better outcomes next time. The market is objective. It does not punish you for trying and failing. It only rewards you for eventually learning and executing. Understanding that the market does not care about feelings also drives focus. You stop wasting energy on questions like, does this feel good? Or am I inspired? And start asking, does this work? Will this produce results? How can I get better at delivering value? These are the questions that determine success. They are grounded in reality, not in emotion. They put power in your hands because improvement is always within your control, whereas feelings, mood, and inspiration are not. People who internalize this principle develop resilience, discipline, and clarity. They become relentless in their pursuit of competence because they know that results, not feelings, are the only currency that matters. They build skill, practice consistently, and deliver reliably, knowing that the world will respond to what they can do, not how they feel while doing it. This understanding is what separates those who dream from those who achieve, those who hope from those who execute, and those who remain passive from those who take full ownership of their outcomes. The market does not care, and that is the most powerful truth you can embrace. It strips away excuses, illusions, and dependency on motivation, leaving only what actually produces results. It forces you to focus, to act, and to become skilled enough to generate outcomes that cannot be ignored. Skill compounds over time in a way that passion, motivation, or inspiration never can. Most people underestimate the power of incremental improvement because they are obsessed with feelings, excitement, or immediate gratification. They think that if something doesn't feel amazing or produce instant results, it must not be worthwhile. But skill works differently. Skill is a compounding asset. Every hour you invest in learning, practicing, or refining your abilities adds to a growing reservoir of capability that continues to multiply over time. This is why the people who seem to suddenly achieve massive success are almost always the ones who've been quietly building skill for years. Compounding skill is invisible at first. It doesn't announce itself. You may put in hours of deliberate practice, repetition, and problem solving and feel like nothing is happening. You may look around and see others who appear more advanced or more fortunate and feel frustrated. That is part of the process. Growth is often invisible in the moment because skill is developing internally. Neural pathways are being strengthened, habits are being formed, and your capacity to execute at a higher level is quietly increasing. This is why patience and consistency are critical. Small, repeated actions accumulate into massive advantage over time. 1 hour of deliberate practice every day, compounded over months and years, creates capabilities that far exceed sporadic bursts of passion or enthusiasm. The market rewards those who can perform consistently over those who rely on feelings. Skill compounds because each new layer builds on the foundation of the previous layer. Learning one concept, mastering one technique, or solving one type of problem makes the next challenge easier. Your ability to handle complexity, adapt to unforeseen obstacles, and innovate grows with each skill added. This is leverage. The more skill you accumulate, the more difficult it becomes for others to compete with you in your space. The compounding nature of skill also creates freedom. As you become more capable, you can solve bigger problems, take on more complex challenges, and deliver higher value. Your options expand because your confidence allows you to operate in areas that others cannot. This is why the accumulation of skill over time is one of the most reliable paths to influence, financial independence, and impact. Skill compounds not just in technical ability, but also in confidence and decision-making. The more you practice, the more proof you generate for yourself that you can handle difficult situations. You make fewer mistakes, recover faster when you do, and approach challenges with clarity and precision. This confidence is a byproduct of skill, and it compounds alongside your capabilities, enabling you to take on increasingly difficult tasks without hesitation. Many people fail to recognize the compounding effect because they measure success too narrowly or too quickly. They expect immediate results, external validation, or visible progress and give up when these do not appear. Compounding skill is not flashy. It does not provide constant excitement or emotional highs, but its impact is undeniable once enough time and effort have been invested. Those who understand this principle act regardless of how they feel. They show up every day to practice, to refine, to learn, and to improve. They understand that feelings are temporary, but skill is lasting. Skill compounds because it becomes a form of leverage in every area of your life. Once developed, it allows you to approach problems more effectively, negotiate from a position of strength, and create outcomes that others cannot replicate. It is a multiplier. Even small improvements in skill, when applied consistently, can have outsized effects over time because they build on each other. Compounding skill also shields you from volatility. Life, business, and markets are unpredictable. Motivation fluctuates, emotions waver, and circumstances change. But skill provides stability. It is a constant resource that you carry with you. The more you invest in it, the more resilient you become to setbacks, competition, and change. Compounding skill turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. A person who develops a little more skill than their peers consistently over a long period accumulates advantages that are nearly impossible to overcome through short-term bursts of effort or by relying solely on passion. This is why skill is more valuable than passion. Passion may provide temporary energy, but it does not multiply or create lasting leverage. Skill does. Skill compounds because it allows you to operate at higher levels over time, tackle increasingly complex challenges, and solve problems that once seemed insurmountable. Every effort you put into skill development adds to your capability, which enables you to take on bigger opportunities, create more value, and generate results that grow exponentially as time goes on. Those who fail to appreciate compounding skill tend to chase excitement, trends, or quick wins, constantly starting over, never building the momentum that comes from consistent capability. They miss the power of the incremental, the long game, and the cumulative advantage that skill generates. Compounding skill is a quiet force. It is invisible in the short term, but undeniable in the long term. It separates amateurs from professionals, dreamers from doers, and hopefuls from achievers. It is the engine behind lasting success, and it grows only for those willing to show up consistently, practice deliberately, and invest in their craft without reliance on fleeting feelings, short-term motivation, or external validation. Confidence is not something that comes from hoping, pretending, or feeling inspired. Most people misunderstand what true confidence is. They believe it is an internal state, a feeling that you summon when you need it. They think confidence is about thinking positively, imagining success, or convincing themselves that they are capable. That kind of confidence is fragile. It fluctuates with mood, energy, and external circumstances. It disappears when pressure mounts, when failure happens, or when the stakes are high. Real confidence is different. Real confidence is built on proof. It is the result of repeated action, consistent execution, and demonstrated capability. It is the evidence you accumulate over time that shows not just to yourself, but to the world that you can perform under pressure, solve problems, and deliver results. People who lack proof often convince themselves they are confident when they are not. They try to fake it through posturing, rehearsed words, or superficial bravado. This works in the short term to mask insecurity, but it collapses quickly when tested against real challenges. Without proof, confidence is brittle. It is a facade, a mask that hides uncertainty rather than overcoming it. Proof-based confidence is grounded in reality. It comes from repeated victories, no matter how small, from accomplishing tasks that others doubted you could achieve, and from facing challenges head-on and emerging with results. Each proof point reinforces the next, creating a compounding effect. The more proof you gather, the stronger your confidence becomes, and the less dependent it is on external validation, mood, or temporary feelings. Developing proof requires deliberate action. It requires stepping into situations where the outcome is not guaranteed and taking responsibility for delivering results. It is forged through practice, preparation, and perseverance. Each time you succeed at a task, overcome a challenge, or produce results that others value, you are adding to your internal reservoir of proof. This is why skill and execution are inseparable from confidence. Without the ability to perform, confidence cannot be sustained. You may feel ready, but when reality tests you, your feelings alone will not carry you. Only the proof of your capabilities can stand up to pressure, adversity, and uncertainty. Many people overestimate the role of natural talent and confidence. They assume that if they have it, confidence will automatically follow. But talent without proof is meaningless. A person may be naturally gifted, but until they apply that talent consistently and demonstrate results, they remain uncertain and hesitant. Proof is what converts latent ability into actionable, dependable confidence. Proof also shifts the focus from perception to reality. You stop worrying about how confident you should feel or how others perceive you. Instead, your attention is on what you can actually do. You focus on actions, outcomes, and results. This mindset eliminates the paralysis caused by overthinking, self-doubt, or reliance on emotion. Confidence born from proof is resilient because it does not require constant reinforcement from mood or circumstance. Even when things go wrong, setbacks do not destroy it. Each failure becomes data, a learning opportunity, a chance to add to your skill, and, ultimately, your proof. Proof-based confidence is the confidence of high performers, leaders, and achievers. It is not about ego, pride, or image. It is about knowing with certainty that you can deliver, that you can perform, and that you can handle the challenges that come your way. It allows you to take calculated risks, embrace opportunities, and push boundaries that others fear. The pursuit of proof requires humility. You must acknowledge where you are weak, identify areas for improvement, and deliberately work to strengthen them. Confidence is not achieved by ignoring weaknesses or pretending they do not exist. It is achieved by confronting them, improving upon them, and accumulating evidence of your ability to overcome them. Proof-based confidence also changes the way you approach fear. Most people let fear dictate their actions because they feel unsure, untested, or incapable. But when your confidence is based on proof, fear becomes manageable. You know that you have handled similar challenges before. You know that you have handled similar challenges before. You know that you have the skills, experience, and capability to act effectively even under pressure. This mindset transforms hesitation into decisive action, uncertainty into calculated risk, and doubt into strategic execution. The accumulation of proof compounds over time. Early victories, small wins, and repeated successes create momentum. Each proof point reinforces the next, building a foundation of confidence that is stable, durable, and self-reinforcing. The more you act, the more results you produce, and the more proof you have to rely on, the stronger your confidence becomes, independent of external factors. People who fail to understand this often chase motivation, affirmation, or external validation to feel confident. They rely on temporary highs, social approval, or imagined scenarios. This approach is unstable and always vulnerable to collapse under real-world pressure. Proof-based confidence removes that instability. It is unshakable because it is anchored in reality, in demonstrated ability, and in repeated success. Building confidence through proof requires patience and consistency. It does not happen overnight. It is forged in the trenches through repeated application, testing, and refinement. Every challenge faced, every problem solved, and every skill mastered adds to your internal evidence that you are capable. This process creates a cycle of growth. Skill leads to proof, proof leads to confidence, and confidence enables you to take on bigger challenges that create even more proof and further growth. Ultimately, confidence is not about how you feel, how motivated you are, or how much you believe in yourself. It is about what you can do, what you have accomplished, and the proof you have accumulated through consistent action, deliberate practice, and measurable results. Building skill opens doors in ways that passion alone never can. Most people spend their time chasing inspiration, excitement, or the feeling of being ready, believing that if they just wait for the right moment or the right spark, opportunity will arrive. But opportunity doesn't wait, and it certainly doesn't respond to how you feel. Opportunity responds to capability. It responds to results. It responds to proof. Skill is the gateway that allows you to access opportunities that would otherwise remain closed. When you have skill, you can approach challenges that others avoid. You can tackle problems that intimidate your peers. You can deliver value in ways that are rare, difficult, or complex. And this is exactly what attracts attention, opens doors, and generates influence. Skill is not just a tool for performing. It is a signal to the world that you are capable. People notice competence. Markets notice competence. Organizations notice competence. When you demonstrate the ability to execute, solve problems, and create measurable outcomes, people want to work with you. Doors open not because you're passionate, but because you can produce results consistently. The world is full of passionate individuals who never make an impact. They have ideas, enthusiasm, and energy, but they lack the concrete ability to translate those things into results. Skill bridges that gap. It transforms potential into reality. It is the difference between someone who talks about their dreams and someone who actually achieves them. Developing skill also gives you leverage. Once you can deliver results that others cannot, you are no longer dependent on approval, luck, or circumstance. You gain the freedom to choose projects, clients, or paths that align with your goals. You can negotiate from a position of strength. You can take on higher risk, higher reward opportunities because you have the ability to execute effectively. Skill opens doors because it builds credibility. When others see that you can perform, solve problems, and achieve results, they trust you. They invite you into rooms, networks, and opportunities that are otherwise inaccessible. You become the person people rely on to get things done, and reliability is a rare and highly valued currency. Every skill you build compounds your ability to open new doors. One skill often leads to another. As you demonstrate competence in one area, new challenges present themselves that require you to stretch further. You grow in confidence, ability, and influence, and those improvements create access to even more opportunities. Skill allows you to operate where others cannot. People often underestimate the importance of specialized capability. General interest or vague enthusiasm rarely attracts meaningful attention. But when you can do something few others can do at a high level, the world responds. You become valuable in a tangible, measurable way. Organizations, markets, and individuals all respond to value, not emotion. This is why building skill is far more effective than chasing passion. Passion may spark interest, but skill generates results, and results create opportunity. Opportunity that passion alone cannot. Skill also provides resilience in the face of rejection, setbacks, or change. When doors close, skill gives you the ability to find another route. You can pivot, adapt, and create value in new areas because your ability is portable and transferable. Passion without skill leaves you vulnerable. Skill without passion still allows you to operate, compete, and succeed. Developing skill also amplifies your confidence and decision-making ability. When you know you can perform, you approach challenges without hesitation. You can take calculated risks because you trust in your ability to deliver. This trust opens doors that hesitation or self-doubt would keep firmly shut. Skill creates momentum. Early accomplishments built on capability attract attention, which leads to more opportunities. Each opportunity you seize allows you to further refine your skill and prove your competence, creating a cycle of growth, influence, and access. Without skill, opportunity is limited. Passion may allow you to dream about the possibilities, but it does not provide the leverage, credibility, or execution required to enter new arenas. Skill turns aspiration into action, and action into results that the world cannot ignore. Those who build skill become magnetically attractive to opportunity because the market and people naturally gravitate toward those who can deliver. This is why skill-based growth is exponentially more effective than feeling-based growth. Every skill you acquire is a key. Every demonstration of competence unlocks access. Every result you produce increases your influence and expands your options. Over time, the accumulation of skill turns a narrow path into a wide array of possibilities, allowing you to operate at levels that would have been impossible without the foundation of capability. Skill opens doors because it proves that you can create value, adapt under pressure, and execute consistently. It allows you to step into roles, responsibilities, and situations that would intimidate or exclude those who rely on passion alone. Skill gives you credibility, authority, and leverage, and these are the true currencies that determine access, opportunity, and success in any field. Effort without structure leads to burnout, but skill-based growth creates leverage that compounds over time. Most people believe that hard work alone is enough to succeed. They think that putting in long hours, hustling endlessly, and grinding nonstop will automatically produce results. While effort is important, effort without direction, without a system, and without skill development is inefficient and often destructive. You can work tirelessly and still fail to move the needle because effort alone does not create value. It only produces fatigue, frustration, and disappointment when not paired with competence and a clear strategy. Skill-based growth, on the other hand, channels effort into productive outcomes. When you focus on developing skill, every action you take becomes meaningful. Each hour invested produces compounding results because it enhances your ability to perform at a higher level. Unlike raw effort, which can dissipate or plateau, skill accumulation multiplies the impact of your work over time. The difference between effort and skill-based growth is leverage. Effort without skill is linear. If you work 10 hours, you get 10 hours of output. If you work 20 hours, you double that output, but only marginally. Skill-based growth is exponential. When you combine effort with increasing competence, your ability to generate results grows faster than the hours you put in. 1 hour of focused, skilled work can produce 10 times the impact of an unskilled hour, because your capability allows you to work smarter, not just harder. The problem with pure effort is that it eventually hits limits. Physical, mental, and emotional capacity are finite. People who rely solely on motivation and hustle burn out because they have no system or skill to scale their results. They push themselves harder and harder without increasing their efficiency or effectiveness. They confuse busyness with progress and exhaustion with achievement. Skill-based growth mitigates this risk. As you build skill, You learn to work more effectively, make better decisions, and leverage your abilities to achieve greater outcomes with less wasted energy. Skill transforms effort into impact. It allows you to tackle bigger challenges, solve problems faster, and create solutions that others cannot replicate. This is the essence of leverage. Your results expand far beyond the raw input of your effort. Developing skill also allows you to prioritize the right actions. When you know what you are capable of, you can focus your energy on tasks that produce the most meaningful outcomes. You stop wasting time on things that feel urgent but do not matter. You stop chasing passion or emotion and start following a strategy grounded in reality and capability. This prioritization reduces burnout and increases productivity because your effort is directed toward high-leverage activities. Skill-based growth is sustainable. Unlike fleeting motivation, which ebbs and flows, skill remains with you. Each new ability you acquire builds on previous abilities, creating a compounding effect that continues to deliver value long after the initial effort is invested. This accumulation is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who constantly struggle to keep up. The compounding nature of skill also protects you from setbacks. When you've developed capability, failure becomes temporary. You can pivot, adapt, and recover because your skill allows you to create alternative solutions. Without skill, failure can be devastating because you lack the competence to respond effectively. Skill provides resilience, efficiency, and leverage in ways that raw effort never can. Many people underestimate the importance of structure and intentionality in growth. They think that working hard in any direction is enough, but the world does not reward effort without results. Markets, clients, and employers respond to value, not busyness. Skill allows you to convert your energy, attention, and persistence in tangible outcomes that the world recognizes and rewards. Skill-based growth also compounds across different areas. Once you develop a core set of capabilities, you can apply them in multiple domains, increasing your overall leverage. For example, learning to sell effectively opens doors in business, career, and negotiation. Learning to communicate persuasively enhances leadership, influence, and relationships. Each new skill builds on the last, creating a network of competence that multiplies your ability to generate results. Those who rely solely on effort are vulnerable to exhaustion and inefficiency. They are at the mercy of circumstance, luck, and emotion. Those who build skill transform effort into a renewable resource. Every hour spent practicing, refining, and improving produces a return that grows over time. Skill allows you to scale your influence, productivity, and impact far beyond what is possible through effort alone. Understanding this principle is critical to achieving lasting success. Effort is necessary, but it is not sufficient. Without skill, effort is wasted energy, a treadmill that produces sweat but not progress. With skill, effort becomes leverage, momentum, and compounding advantage. Skill-based growth allows you to accomplish more in less time, handle complexity with confidence, and create outcomes that others cannot match. It is the difference between burning out and building sustainable, scalable success. Skill turns hard work into smart work, sweat into results, and persistence into opportunity. It allows you to operate at a level that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes, producing leverage that compounds over time and creating a trajectory of growth and success that raw effort alone can never achieve. Real success is not a product of inspiration, fleeting motivation, or the intensity of your passion. It is the byproduct of capability, consistent execution, and the relentless pursuit of skill. Many people mistake excitement, enthusiasm, or momentary inspiration for the foundations of achievement, believing that if they just feel it enough, success will naturally follow. The world does not operate on feelings. It operates on results, and results come from competence. Real success is earned through the consistent application of skill to meaningful problems. It is the result of showing up, doing the work that others avoid, and proving over and over that you can deliver where others cannot. Capability is the ultimate currency in any field. Those who can perform at a high level repeatedly, under pressure, and in uncertain conditions are the ones who achieve lasting impact. Feeling inspired may get someone started, but it does not carry them through the resistance, difficulty, and failure that inevitably come with pursuing meaningful goals. People often wait for motivation, thinking that it is the essential ingredient. They wait to feel confident, ready, or aligned with their purpose. Meanwhile, opportunities are lost, time passes, and others who focus on building skill move ahead. Motivation is temporary. Capability is permanent. Real success comes from developing abilities that allow you to operate at levels beyond the average. It comes from deliberate practice, repeated exposure to challenges, and the accumulation of proof that you can execute. Each skill learned, each problem solved, and each result produced adds to a foundation that compounds over time. Passion alone cannot create this foundation. It is unreliable, inconsistent, and often fades when the work becomes uncomfortable. Capability carries you through discomfort. It allows you to persist when the work is tedious, when setbacks occur, and when no one is watching. It is the difference between someone who dreams and someone who achieves. Execution builds proof. Proof builds confidence. Confidence enables risk-taking, adaptability, and the ability to pursue bigger opportunities. All of this compounds into results that the market, clients, and society cannot ignore. Real success is rarely glamorous in the early stages. It is often uncelebrated, unrecognized, and repetitive. Most of the work that creates leverage and long-term achievement is boring, uncomfortable, and challenging. It is the daily accumulation of small actions consistently applied that produces outcomes exponentially greater than the effort alone would suggest. Skill-based success is scalable. Once you develop competence, you can apply it across multiple situations, industries, and challenges. One skill often opens doors to opportunities that were previously inaccessible. Each additional skill increases your flexibility, problem-solving ability, and value in ways that passion or motivation cannot replicate. Real success is durable. External circumstances change, markets fluctuate, and conditions evolve. Motivation comes and goes. Feelings are temporary, but capability remains. Skill allows you to adapt, pivot, and continue producing results regardless of the environment. It is a hedge against uncertainty, a buffer against failure, and a foundation for long-term growth. People who rely solely on enthusiasm or passion are at the mercy of their internal states and external conditions. They are vulnerable to setbacks, disappointment, and volatility. Those who focus on building skill are empowered to act regardless of how they feel or what challenges arise. The process of achieving real success also demands patience. Capability develops gradually, through repeated exposure, practice, and iteration. Early attempts may feel ineffective, progress may be slow, and results may not be immediately visible. But each step, no matter how small, adds to the accumulation of competence, which compounds over time into tangible achievement. Capability also creates leverage. A highly skilled individual can produce more results in less time, solve complex problems that others cannot, and access opportunities that would be closed to those who rely on passion alone. Leverage multiplies impact, income, and influence, turning effort into outcomes that scale far beyond the individual's initial input. Real success is not linear. It is often the outcome of compounding effort applied to skill development over years. Each project completed, each problem solved, each capability gained adds to a foundation that allows for increasingly ambitious goals to be achieved. Skill transforms potential into reality. Passion may inspire potential, but capability converts it into results. Real success is evidence-based. It is proof that you can deliver, perform, and create value repeatedly. Without this proof, enthusiasm is meaningless, motivation is fleeting, and even the most exciting ideas fail to produce impact. Developing skill also changes how you approach challenges. With capability, you see problems as opportunities to apply what you have learned, test your limits, and grow. You become resilient to failure because skill allows you to adapt and find solutions. You stop avoiding discomfort because you have confidence in your ability to navigate it effectively. Real success is cumulative. Early wins build momentum, which leads to bigger opportunities, which further build capability. Each achievement becomes a stepping stone to higher levels of performance, influence, and impact. This accumulation is only possible through deliberate skill development, focused practice, and consistent execution. Those who rely solely on passion or fleeting inspiration are trapped in cycles of excitement and disappointment, constantly starting over without ever building the foundation necessary for sustained achievement. Capability is transferable. The skills you develop in one domain can often be applied to others, multiplying your impact and expanding your potential. This is why skill-based growth is far more reliable than passion-driven effort. Real success is not a result of luck or timing, although those factors may play a role. It is the outcome of preparation meeting opportunity, the consistent application of skill over time, and the ability to deliver results in a way that others cannot replicate. The work that produces real success is rarely easy or glamorous. It requires focus, persistence, and a willingness to embrace the uncomfortable and the difficult. But this is exactly what produces leverage, impact, and lasting achievement. Real success is the natural byproduct of capability, proof, and relentless execution. It is earned, built, and demonstrated. It emerges not from what you feel, but from what you can do, what you have proven, and the skill you continue to develop through disciplined, consistent effort. Success is not a matter of waiting for inspiration, chasing fleeting feelings, or hoping passion will carry you forward. It is earned through relentless effort, deliberate practice, and the consistent building of skill. When you focus on capability over emotion, proof over hope, and execution over excitement, you create leverage that compounds over time, opens doors, and produces results that cannot be ignored. Mastery, confidence, and opportunity all flow from what you can do, not how you feel, and real achievement is the natural outcome of disciplined action applied consistently, regardless of circumstance.